Thank God the Ukrainians surprised everybody. They surprised me. They surprised Putin in the Kremlin. They surprised the Biden administration. They surprised the European Union. Not with the fact that they would resist. We knew that. We had the Orange Revolution in 2004. We had Maidan in 2013-14, where they rose up against a domestic tyrant, and they were willing to die on behalf of their country then, let alone against a foreign tyrant invading their country, right? So we knew they would resist. We didn't know just how successful, certainly I didn't know, they would be on the battlefield. It's been breathtaking to watch. That sacrifice, that gift, enabled the West to rediscover itself, to rediscover its power, to revive itself, to say, the hell with this energy dependence in the long term. The hell with this money laundering and reputation laundering. The hell with this running back and forth to Moscow to try to see what Putin needs in order for him to feel respected, what appeasement he needs, right? So we'll see if it endures, but this shift comes from the Ukrainians. And so it's no longer getting away with murder, Lex. And we thank the Ukrainians for that.
The people and the leadership and the separate factions that make up Ukraine uniting. It's the unification, the uniting against the common enemy.
Yes.
And standing up before anyone knew that they would be backed by all of these other nations, by this money and all this kind of stuff. Standing there, especially with the President Zelenskyy, where it makes total sense to flee. He stood his ground. And
yes, Lex. Let's take that point that you just raised, which is a deep and fundamental point, and I thank you for that.
Did you guys hear that? I think that was a compliment. There we go. Let's go.
Lex.
Zelenskyy or unification?
I'm sitting here in front of you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
And it's a mutual honor. So, Ukraine, before the war, is run by a TV production company. Right? You're one guy running this fantastic, incredible podcast.
Yeah.
There's 20 guys or so running a country the size of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And one's a producer, and one's like a makeup person, and one's a video editor, and they're fantastically talented people if your country is a TV production. Mm-hmm. So before the war, Zelenskyy had, 25% approval rating? And he couldn't get much done, and it wasn't working. He got elected with 73%, as you know, and then he was down to 20. That's a pretty big drop. And so you're thinking, maybe having a major, large-size, 40 million plus population European country run by a TV production company is not the best choice. And then what do we see? We see President Zelenskyy decides to risk his life on behalf of his country, Ukraine. He decides to stay in the capital. He's not going to flee. They're going to stay and fight. And he could be killed. He can die. It's a decision where he put his life on the line. Obviously, he's Jewish descent, Russian-speaking childhood and upbringing. Russian-speaking Jewish descent puts his life on the line for the country of Ukraine. It's a pretty big message, don't you think? And it's crucial. And it turns out, not only that, Lex, but they're good at TV. They're good at information war. And in a war, it's a TV production company and a TV personality. That's exactly what you want running a country, because they're crushing in the information war. And he's spectacular. European Parliament, U.S. Congress, Israeli Parliament. There's no room on Zoom, let alone in person, that he can't win over. He's just so effective. You know, this is the first time reality TV has been about reality instead of fake. Reality TV is just this completely fake nonsense. But Zelenskyy, this is real reality TV. And he means it. And the nation is behind him. And they're just as courageous and just as ingenious in many ways. And it's spectacular. And so, who saw that coming? I didn't see that coming, Lex. In fact, we talk about Putin's miscalculation.
Mm-hmm.
The Biden administration, as you alluded to, offered him an exit from the country. They didn't say, you want to stand and fight, we'll back you. They said, we'll get you out. You want to come now? And famously, that quote, right? What he said about how he doesn't need a ride. Remember that moment? The Biden administration was poised to do another Afghanistan moment. That ignominious exit from Afghanistan was almost what happened in Ukraine when the Biden administration offered him that ride out of there. And fortunately, he declined and helped rally, and the people from below also rallied to stop the invader without the presidency and without the government in Ukraine, saving the Biden administration and the European leaders who latched on. Fortunately, they had the presence of mind to latch on to this gift, this bravery and ingeniousness of Zelenskyy and the rest of the Ukrainians, and flipped and decided to support Ukraine's resistance, first with 5,000 helmets only, as the Germans initially promised, and now with really heavy weapons. And so that's something that wasn't foreseen. I certainly didn't foresee that. I foresaw the Ukrainian society being courageous and resisting, but I didn't foresee a television production company being exactly what you want to run a country in a war. A president, Zelenskyy, willing to sacrifice, lay down his life, and rallying others in the country to do that. And then the country being so effective, not just at courage, but at battlefield resistance to the Russian invasion. So I stand corrected by the Ukrainians, and I'm ecstatic that I was wrong, that I was proven wrong.
And like I said, there's clear factions of the West and the East of Ukraine. And here's a person that, like you said, was in the high 20s, low 30s percentage approval in the country before the war, and now was able to use...
He's in the 90s now.
In the 90s.
He's in the 90% approval rating. I mean, I think they stopped doing the polling. Once he hit 91% or whatever it was in the previous poll, I think they all understood that for now they didn't need any more polling, that it's pretty clear the nation. So 25% to 90-something percent. And just like the 25% was deserved, the 90-something percent is also deserved, fully deserved.